Death comes for us all, and it operates on a timeline none of us are privy to. Processing what's on the other side and how it changes your perception of what came before is at the core of what comes after. You play as Vivi, who wakes up on a train for the deceased in which she's the only living passenger. Unable to turn back until the journey is complete, she's invited to walk across the train cars and chat with the dead in the hopes of leaving with more knowledge and a better outlook on life. It took me about an hour to see everything the train had to offer. While I was moved by the climax of the story and charmed by conversations with the dead, what came after failed to fully pull me in due to its repetitive visuals and lack of direct player participation. It's clear that what comes after aims to be lighthearted, even while broaching heavy topics. It's mostly successful, but at times it feels a bit too nonchalant. When Vivi thinks she's dead, she remarks, "And I've been considering dying for a while. You won the jackpot, Vivi," with a level of cavalierness akin to accepting a free upgrade to a large popcorn. There's a way to casually remark something this serious while still couching it in its severity, though it's worth noting this takes a back seat to the passengers of the train who all have interesting and eye-opening stories to share about their often untimely demise. I frequently found myself moved by these ghost stories, and while reading them, I instantly began drawing parallels to my own life, from candid reminders of the importance of family to harsh statements about spending your entire life making someone else rich. In terms of realism, it's hard to imagine how many folks on this train to the afterlife would instantly open up and in some ways come to the aid of Vivi. Early in What Comes After, you speak to a child, but their demeanor felt beyond their years to me, and nothing takes me out of an experience more than a child that's written as if they were an adult. What Comes After later justifies all conversational abnormalities, such as animals being able to talk, to the fantastical nature of the situation, which is acceptable but not quite satisfying. Cuteness is clear from the jump, from the delicate, translucent forms of human ghosts to the animals who have passed away but still crave attention. Even plants are thrown into the mix. There's plenty of appeal in the awe factor of what comes after, but more importantly, the inclusion of plants and animals serves as a reminder that all creatures experience death, and not all of them had a good life on paper. My biggest complaint about what comes after is it fails to make the player an active participant on any level. You talk to dozens of passengers during the game, but there are no dialogue options. Instead, you're just pressing A through the conversation as if it was a cutscene. Not every narrative game needs to be choice-driven, and not every game needs to have layered mechanics, but having neither made me feel like What Comes After is a game that happens with me there rather than something I'm a part of. Despite being in control, I'm left on the outside looking in. Other ways to entice players are underutilized. There are just a few animations Vivi does as she reacts to people's stories, and cycling through that small handful gets old quickly. While you're always on a train, some cars have a different look to them to help break up the monotony, but it's not enough for me. What Comes After is inoffensive but unremarkable, while managing to have some pockets of genuinely strong and charming writing. Without getting into spoilers, the climax of What Comes After was by far the highlight of it all. There's a visual shift that creates an intimacy that had been missing from the rest of the experience, and the scene is magical, memorable, and downright tear-inducing. But of course, one bright spot isn't enough to light up the room. In short, What Comes After contains small bursts of well-written stories, but the act of playing through them is dull in comparison. For even more on What Comes After, be sure to check out the written review linked in the description below. And for more on the latest games, be sure to head over to twitch.tv/Gameonasis, especially Friday's Best of 2021 watch, where I stream the latest games in search of the best ones of the year. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, tap the bell, and I'll see y'all here next time.